I'm gonna hitch my wagon to the rainbow because also I really like how this smells. Well, so I'll be burning this.
You say that every time you mention
It
Palo
smells
Santo. You're like, I just really like the way it smells.
so good. This is gonna be huge. I'm gonna give you 3 weeks. You
All right,
know it's a
well,
real sign when it feels like a wet noodle just hit you.
that's how I get all of my messages.
All right, I think we're ready.
We're ready. Welcome to Living Magic, our brand new podcast. We're very excited to be here.
I am
Very
really excited.
excited. Me too. Let's talk about magic.
Okay,
So, we are working out our tagline, we are working out all the details, but we
this
wanted
is our first one.
to just start. So, let's start. I thought we'd start by telling who we are and what magic is to us. Because the idea of this podcast is living magic and really connecting to the magic in our everyday lives, the magic that's all around us, and like helping us remember that as well as sharing that with the world. So, who are you, Kyla? Tell me
Oh,
about
you're gonna
yourself.
make me go first?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
First of all, I answered that question kind of in my mind before, what is magic? And I was like, what is magic to me? And really, it's just energy, the energy of something and shifting the energy and being open to, when I say magic, it's like I'm being open to whatever yummy energy is coming in. So I feel like that's always, you can tap into that at any time, right? Because
Absolutely.
you're living it, you're a form of energy. I won't get all scientific, like I think science and energy and magic are the same thing. It's all the same, but
Mhm.
we use different words. I like magic better because it kind of sparkles when you say it.
Sure does.
But it really, like, that's what it is for me. It's like, okay, well, what is the energy of this and how can I shift that if I want to, or be in it when I want to? And it's always accessible because we can just sort of take a breath and step in. And so I think maybe like sharing our different stories about that will help
Yeah.
clarify a little bit what that is more to me down the road. But essentially, I was like, in a word, magic is energy.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I'll share what mine is too because it's similar. And the way that I see it is magic is being connected to the flow of everything around you. It's like the moment you're like, right, as I'm walking out the door, there are all these forces that are happening around me. And if I can tap into those and connect with them, then my little life becomes bigger because I'm now like connected to all of it and I'm working as a part of all of it and I can create things and I can receive things and it makes like the idea of living magic is that if you like are in that mindset everywhere you go it's like every part of your day can be magic because you're just in the flow of like the universe as it's evolving and happening around you.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
Okay. Are we leaving the vortex?
yeah, let's leave the word. Oh, hi.
It's really fun to drop in and out of the vortex.
It is.
Yeah.
It is indeed. I feel like you've been connected to magic like so much more of your life than I have. Like I feel like it's been a foundational part of your life always. And so what do you want to share about your connection to it and your story?
I feel like even as a kid, I could like think something and manifest it.
You
And so,
are a manifester. You make stuff happen so fast. Yes.
so oftentimes, even like stuff that I didn't really want to think about, I could like get a sense of, ooh, that feeling means someone's going to die. And then I would have it in the pit of my stomach. I'd feel nauseous. And so I'd go through the whole list of everybody that I knew. Because if I thought of them, they wouldn't die. And it was kind of, it was just bizarre.
If you thought of
So
them alive, they wouldn't die.
if I thought of them alive,
Oh,
they wouldn't
interesting.
die.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows, right? But that
How
was
old were you when you were doing that?
um younger than 12. It was 12 when I realized, when I directly related that feeling to having my grandma pass away. So
Someone actually
anytime,
dying. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, that feeling equals this for me. And so then anytime I had that feeling afterwards, somebody would die, but I would make sure to like check, 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 check.
Keep them safe. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
I
Yeah.
know. And I had a really weird, not weird, but interesting, like my best friend in grade school was Baptist. And so I went to church with her. And I was baptized Catholic. So I went to church until the priest was accused of molesting a child. And then my mom was like, we're done here. But I did grow up in doing the Catholic thing for a while and then did the Baptist thing and then had a Mormon best friends who were Mormon in high school, and I went to church with them. And it never, so I prayed as a kid because that's kind of what I was told to do. And so I made up this, please keep all of my family, friends, and animals safe and healthy. Just across the board.
Desperate.
No one
Desperate.
must die,
Yep. Yep. I can relate to that. That
you
feels,
know?
yes, I was Catholic, raised Catholic too. And I questioned in my mind the existence of God. And then I was like, oh God, I'm going to hell. And so every night I would go to bed and be like, I believe in everything. It's absolutely true. Like I would be like, I promise I believe,
I'm such a good
mainly
girl.
just didn't want to get damned to hell for eternity. So mine was a little less protective of anyone else and more protective of my own soul.
Yeah. Well, and in Baptist, you have to be saved. So I was like, yeah, save me. I want to line me up to be saved. Like, I want it. I want it. Um, but none of it really. So then later on down the road, I went and saw, I've seen several clairvoyants. First, it was just like, what? This would be fun. And then one of them finally told me, you have spent lifetimes looking for God in a pew. Like I
Mm,
just get these visions of you like in a pew, like, I'm here, I'm ready for it.
save
And
me,
and
save
she
me.
was,
Here I
save
am.
me. And she was like, and that's not where God is for you. Like, she's like, I want you to think about being outside and how that feels. And I had just remembered changing, I think I had sick kids, or maybe they were just normal kids, but they were young kids because I was changing diapers. And I just remember taking that moment from like the dirty diaper bin to the trash outside and like walking into the outdoor and that fresh blast of like, and just like pausing and like, oh my God, that's so amazing. She's like, that is God for you. That is God. But it's not in a pew and God has never been in a pew, God, universe, whatever word you want to use. But for me, when she said that, I was like, oh, of course it is, because outside is absolutely where I connect,
Mhm.
where I tap in to the
And where you open
magic, where
and
I
you
open.
open like that, even just like that visual as you walk out the door, it's like, oh, like a big
Yeah.
sigh and a big
Or
breath.
yes. And the familiar, I think probably everybody could, I mean, this is a projection, but could relate to like the smell of fresh rain and, or when the rain first starts and like the whole earth is like, you
Hmm.
know,
Yes,
that she's like, there it is. Like, that's all you need. It's just one breath. It's like in one breath, this
yeah,
connection, right? So took the trash, and then, slowly walk back inside to deal with everything that is
big sad
inside.
children, as we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's interesting too, just knowing you also, like just how in your senses you are. Like, of course, it's going to be a place where you can smell something and hear something and like see something. It's like all of your senses, and that's what nature can give to you. It's like all your senses are like delighting and lighting up, and then
Oh,
you
so
just
yummy.
open to everything. Whereas like sitting in a church pew, it's like I'm looking at one person, I can hear nothing. There's like very specific smells that they put in there, you know?
Yeah, but the funny thing is too, I do love a old-fashioned church pew. I
Oh, I do
do.
too.
And like
I do
the
too.
art in there, like
We
when
have
we
a
were going through
beautiful
Europe,
church up the street from our house, and I've just gone in there to hang out.
yeah, I just like I picture it more like by myself. Like I don't like to be in there with other people. No.
No, no.
But by myself, when I'm in there, there is something, you can put a word, I'll put holy to that word. There's something
Hmm.
magical about being just in there. I don't think that's true for every church, but there are certain churches that really hold
Yeah.
that piece for me for sure. Most of them are in Europe, but some of them are here.
Yeah. Well, they're probably
The,
older too,
the
like
older
that.
ones,
Hmm.
it's like the older ones that have that. Yeah. And then there's other ones that I walk into and I'm like, I think I might vomit. Maybe this is something about this ain't right.
Not it for you. I get that too. Yep. And that is also like magic, right? Like that's the trusting of the flow. Like that flow in those places, it's like, oh, nope, don't do it. Turn around, get out of there.
Close your legs.
Whereas other ones, you're like, oh, I'm going to open everything up. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a much funner ride to be on. Funner, more fun.
Funner. Yeah. And so now these days, now that you know that,
It's like this allowance to be more open. So I just don't feel like there's a separation. I feel like people have the need to compartmentalize. This is what it is. This is what it is. And I'm like, I don't know, but I know what feels good.
mhm,
And I do feel like we are supposed to be here to experience and what is the word, like soak up and become one with joy. And so that's where that magic, like I'm going to relate to that magic, like whatever, and spirit, universe, connectivity, God. I think there's so many different words where people are doing just that. They're connecting
mhm.
into this energy. I'm sure there's a label for what I am, but I'm choosing not to observe it.
No, you are you.
I like free spirit.
You
I'm a
are a free
free
spirit.
spirit.
You are a free spirit. That is true. You're a free spirit, but you're also very grounded. I love that combination about you.
Yeah.
It's like you
I don't
really
like,
are in
oh,
your body and of the earth. You're not like floating in the ether.
no, that actually sometimes annoys me when people like I can be like, oh, that's fun. And then I'm going to be like, and now I need you to focus.
Make dinner and do things
Right. Can you
like
please be here? You chose this body to
I know.
arrive
I
here on the
know.
planet. Now I
I
would like
know.
you to stick with that decision. I can
Well,
get a little
yeah.
judgy. I'm trying not to be judgy.
I don't necessarily see that as judgy though. I mean, okay, I get it. Like we can be judgy about that, but like also isn't the point that we like chose this body? So if you're up here the whole time, aren't you sort of missing out on all the lessons that are supposed to be happening in your body on this earth?
Right. Right.
You can do those lessons somewhere else in the ether next time around, but like this one's earthy. We got to earth it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
And and that there, I mean, this for sure is true for me. If I chose to come back to, like, I do believe that we can have several lives and reincarnate or whatever. If I have chosen to come back here to do this thing again, which isn't always easy, then I better be taking advantage of the being in a body, like the sensations of what that is to be human.
Yeah.
Because
That's
if
like
I'm not, what a waste of a human suit.
I know. I know. And that's like the joy of the human suit. Like, yeah, you get to feel all the things and taste all the things and hear all the things. Like, why wouldn't you
Right. And I
revel?
really don't like that feeling of being taken out of your body. Like, I'm not talking about, I want to feel all the things, like, give me the drug. I don't know. That is so not my gig. I like to be in my body. Like, I want to feel it and feel the joy and like food. Oh my gosh. I'm a foodie. You like food.
Yes, I love food.
Yeah, I do. All the flavors.
Oh, I
It's
love
like the
food.
best thing.
I love to like move my body. I love to like feel, like dance and like have energy move through my body and then just like feel it alive
Mhm.
and awake and like vibrating.
Yes.
Why
I
wouldn't
love to
you?
dance
I
too.
love
Ooh,
it.
I love it. Yeah. So I think that's if I'm, one of the things we could talk about, not that we have to, but one of my core values is joy.
That's why you're very fun to be around much of the
I,
time.
I want to hear now about your magic, please. Tell me
Okay,
about your
my
magic.
magic. So I like denied magic for a really, really long time in my life. I think that when I was young, I think I'm realizing more and more now that stuff was happening when I was young that I was like aware of, but just sort of pretended didn't exist. And sort of, I really don't have a lot of memories from my childhood at all, like until I was 7. So it's like,
Really?
yeah, like those, like really very, very little. I have like little glimpses of things like how my grandma's house and my house and stuff, but actual like events that happened to me, almost nothing. And just lately I've been like, oh, I think that I was like seeing and experiencing stuff and just shutting it down so much that I sort of like shut down my connection to my memory as well of just that period of life. So that's interesting. And then, just normal life. I went to grad school. I studied science, and I was very like scientific minded. And so there was like, well, it's either proven and written down, like it's like so just this science is the way. And if you don't know about it, then it doesn't exist. So I thought like there's no God, there's nothing. I could make an argument for why like just chaos could create all of this. And there were points at which I was like, I think I'm just an atheist. I think I actually believe in nothing except for just like chaos creating something. But I also would have stuff happen. Like one time I almost got in a car accident and I heard my grandfather, who had passed away years before, say my name very clearly to like pop me out of what I was distracted by so that I could slam on the brakes and not crash my car. So like that stuff would happen. But I would be like, yeah, I don't know. That's weird, but it didn't fit into my worldview. And then we had kids, and I think having a child sort of opened all of things up for me and started to shift my view. And then when my husband and I moved into an RV and we started traveling around the country, I think just being in all of those beautiful spots in nature and really soaking in that magic of nature, then it was like, okay, really stuff started to happen where I just couldn't deny it. Like one time I was meditating and I just had this like knowing land in my body of like, you've 100% been here before. You will 100% be here again. This never ends. There is continuity through all of it. And it was like, just snap of the finger, I was changed. I was like, oh, okay. I believe that now.
Okay, let's do this then.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And so then I don't know. Yeah. And then I moved to Colorado, which is where we met. And I went to go see who ended up being my teacher. And she was like, I'm so glad you're back. It's time to finish your lessons from lifetimes ago. Let's get started. And I was like, okay. Like there was just this part of me that was like, all right, yeah, let's do that. I don't know who you are. I don't know what we're doing, but this feels
That
like
makes
a
sense.
yes to me. And just being also in Durango, I don't know. I just was like, it just opened. There's something about the energy there. There's something about that place. It felt very much like home to me. And it felt like I was able to sort of like let all of that resistance and that denial that I had like built up over years soften. And then magic really started coming and happening and opening up. And it was like, all of the stuff that I just thought was like these discrete events in my life. I was like, oh, I see the pathway that led me here. And I see how everything has happened for a reason. And like, I'm always being led. It was just, it all kind of plopped on me. The way to say it.
Flopped.
It's like it plopped. Like it was like, okay. So I went from not being connected at all to being very, very connected, and it's so much better to be connected. That's my experience. It feels like I went from being a closed up, stiff, rigid soul to being like open and flowing, and just everything feels easier and more joyful.
I can't even picture you as the other person, the
I mean, I
atheist.
wasn't fully like, obviously, I was still myself and I still had a lot of fun in my life, but it was so much more effortful because it always felt like I was the one doing all the things. That's what I had to like, if something's going to happen in my life, I have to be the one to do
Oh,
it.
you're not supported by anything.
I was not supported by anything in my mind. And so, yeah, it was like I was exhausted. I remember when I got to Durango, I went to like a breath practice, and you like do this breathing And then you sort of like go into a trance, and like the person was that was facilitating it was walking around and giving everybody energy work while it was happening. And I just felt like like I was sort of just like totally stuck to the floor, not like heavy or any weird way. I just was like, whoa, I'm so heavy. And afterwards, he said, all I got from you was the sense that you needed so much rest. And I was like, yeah, I've been working so hard for so long. Now it is like, okay, how can I just live this every day where I'm not the one doing all the work? I am seeing the signs, moving forward with guidance, and just trusting that it's all working out for my better good, for the good of my family, for the good of all. And that feels way easier.
It really does. Even if you like think about it as, even if you didn't believe in any magic or anything, but perhaps yourself, maybe you believed in yourself. And you close your eyes and you're like, I like tap into the feeling of believing in nothing. How's that make you feel?
It's like gives me cringe. Like I feel like my
Ew.
shoulders creep up. Yes, it's
It's
like
very
fear.
dark. Like for me, I'm like immediate blackness. I am in a dark black box cave and I'm locked in
Yes.
here
Yes.
because I believe in nothing.
Nothing. You're so alone.
It's an awful feeling. And then it's like, okay, fight. Is there something that you can believe in? And then finding whatever that is. Like whatever, do you believe in birthdays?
Right.
Whatever it is. Like I do believe in that. And
Do you
like
believe
you
in
could just easily just
the
how easily
wind?
that shifts. Like the
Yes.
wind, the
Uh-huh.
rain,
I
the
know.
ocean. Do you believe there's whales? Do you believe octopus have 8 legs? Like, are those legs? Are those tentacles? I think they might be aliens. Either way, like, like,
I
do you
know.
believe in intelligence and the intelligence of like nature? And if you just find like a little thing to believe in, it just shifts that energy. It takes you out of that darkness so quickly, which would go back to my theory that it doesn't matter what it is that you believe in, as long as you're not being violent to others. Um, but if you're believing in something that's a higher self, a higher version, a higher energy, a higher God, a higher whatever you want it to be, then that really shifts your whole existence.
It does. And it brings a lightness to you that then you shine out into the world as well. And so as you go out into the world and you're in that lighter space because you feel more supported, then it's like people respond differently to you. And so then you start to see like, oh, look, there is support all around. Look at all these people that just want to like be kind and offer their support. And it's because you are trusting yourself, you're trusting the universe, you're trusting all of it.
So much easier to be in that space.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite affirmation, which I use when I can't think of anything else to hold on to, because it's so easy to remember. And I just tell myself over and over is I trust life. So shit is hitting the fan, and I'm like, I trust life. I trust life. Or
Yeah.
whatever you can like that's my easy go-to one. And then I make up other ones when I need other things, other support, like to shift my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think that
trust life.
also is a benefit of being like a little older too. Now that we're in our 40s, it's also
We don't
like,
look at because we have the filter on.
look at us. But like, there is something to be said about having a few decades of looking back over time and saying and seeing that everything, even the things that were sort of dicey and really hard to go through, were serving a purpose and getting you to where you are and teaching you the lessons that you needed. To me, that is a benefit of wisdom that we carry now.
Right. And you never really see it when you're in it when it's hard, but it's usually something hard is like a catalyst for change in your life, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is painful, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like working out. It's hard, but it's changing some.
I
It's
know.
keeping something alive.
I think that's a good intro. Obviously, more will come out.
Go
Let's talk
back into the
about,
vortex.
yeah, let's go back into the vortex.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about our intentions for this. Like, why are we doing this? You're doing it because I was like, we should do this.
I was like, I'm doing this because you told me to. But I believe in the goals that you have. And I'm
So
here for your
maybe
support.
I'll tell my
Yeah,
intentions.
you tell
And then,
yours.
okay, so it's true. I was like, Kyla, we need to do this. And I think I have three reasons when I really think about why.
Okay.
The first was that the idea just kept coming to me of you and me sitting down and doing this. It was like a little brain nugget that wouldn't go away and was like, you should do this. And I trust those now. I trust them because I'm like, especially when it perks me up, when the idea is like, oh, that could be fun. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna trust
Yeah,
that. So that's the first one. Like, trust myself that there's a reason that we should be doing this if my brain is telling
just
me
telling you.
we should.
Yep.
The second one is you and I are very connected to this stuff and to like magic in everyday life. And still we forget.
Struggle.
Struggle is exactly the word. We forget, we struggle, we get like very lost in the day to day nonsense and we can lose sight of it. And so this feels like a really good way to like be bringing our attention back to it on a regular
Mhm.
basis. Like, no, look at all this magic. Let's talk to this magic person. Let's bring up this magic idea. What's this magic book you read? Like, just bringing us back to it constantly so that we stay in it as much as possible. And in doing that for ourselves, it also can help other people just remember the magic all around them, which is helpful. And I like the idea of being
Yes.
helpful. And then the third reason is because I have so much fun talking to you. It's one of my favorite things to do. And if I can do it more,
Why not?
I'm a yes. I'm an absolute yes. And we have so many good conversations about this stuff. We're always like, well, that
Someone
would
else should
help
know about this.
someone should hear these excellent ideas coming out of our head.
We are channeling great information here. I do, and I mean that. I kind of said that sarcastically, but we are.
We do. We really,
Yeah.
really do. We solve a lot of life's problems together, and it's fun. Us doing this and talking about this stuff is always fun. And so I want more fun always.
I want more fun
And
every day.
every day, bring me the
Yeah.
fun.
Bring me the
And
fun.
I also think, oh, I lost that thought completely. So I'm done now.
Because you were just like, actually, I've been in done. This should be fun.
It should be
Life
fun.
should be fun.
It should be fun.
I mean, I really want that for everybody. Imagine if everybody was just having fun in life, like enough of it to fill the bucket enough to do the things that are hard,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
because it's not like we're not being toxically positive.
No.
We're realists.
Yeah. We're not like bypassing
No,
the struggles and the
the
hard parts
struggles.
and the shadows
No.
and all of that. So those are my intentions. That's why the noodle kept landing in my head of like, do this, do this.
I just pictured you being slapped upside the head with a noodle.
Basically.
That's really funny. Like from your TV screen, I could just see it like
Was it a spaghetti noodle or like
yeah, it
a
was like a long spaghetti noodle that just kind of like if you throw a spaghetti noodle that's wet at the wall and just like
stick? That's what it
yeah.
was. That's basically what it was.
I thought that was a good description of how it came to you.
The noodle.
Anyway, all
Okay.
right.
Also because we should also share, like we used to live in the same town and then I moved away.
Yeah,
And so
lame
that's sad. Now we're far away from each other. So now we get to hang out in this way too.
in a different way. Yeah. And we actually connect way more on a daily basis than we did before. I think we just took for granted that I was like, hey, should we meet by the river with some lounge chairs and
I
other things?
just said that to my daughter because I think you called me or something, and she's like, "You and Kyla really talk quite a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, we do." And I was like, "I think we are like closer now than we were when I lived there because now we do talk more because I'm not there." Interesting.
Right. Yeah. More to process.
She was judging me though.
That was a total judgment, but she'll understand one day.
The next thing we were going to do is just celebrate a little bit of magic that came for this week for us. And I think that this is probably something we'll do regularly because the more we celebrate it and give gratitude for it, the more we'll get it.
Okay.
So, do you have any magic that happened to you this week?
This week. Oh, I did because I'm doing that Mother's Day event and I had gave myself so much time in advance thinking about it and then zero time in advance actually like putting it out into the world. Literally like, so it's happening next week. Anybody want to do that?
Right. So you're a photographer and you have this event going where you needed like 8 to 10 moms to sign up. You thought about it for weeks and then you started marketing it a week before.
Right. And then I have 8 now.
I know.
I was like, okay, good. We're doing it. We're doing it
Can we just acknowledge that I feel like this happens to you all
every
the time?
time, every
Yes.
time.
You're always like, oh, I got to get started on this. I got to get started on this. And then it, for some reason, happens a little late. And then the people just show up and arrive.
They do. And maybe like part of this will like manifest for the next event that's happening. I just feel like it's a weird thing to draw an energy like that and be like, is it or is it not? And then you just have to be like, I'm going to hitch my wagon to the rainbow and hope for the best. Let's see what shining faces show up.
Well, part
And
of
there's
it
a
also
lot.
is like trusting that you wanted to do it too.
Right. Like getting clear on I want to celebrate moms because for all the reasons, let's not even get, that's a whole podcast, because we like are the vortex between the ethers to this planet. Like,
Yep.
not everyone is choosing that, but
No, but even if you don't do it in with life, like even if you don't bring a child, the female body is a portal just
yeah,
by
it's a
its
portal.
nature,
Oh my God, it's amazing.
even just with creativity. You
Right.
bring that inspiration in and then you put something new out into the world because that's what our bodies are made to do.
Right. Write down women as portals as one of our topics.
Done.
All right. Go ahead. I'm excited to hear what your magic of this week was.
Okay. Mine was really just feeling so good. That was the magic of this week. There
Yes.
were multiple moments this week. Very often it was after I had done an energy work session with someone where I walked out of my office and I was like, I just did really good, really important work. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping. I feel good physically. I feel like I just helped the world as well. And just this sense of everything is exactly the way that it should be, and everything is happening the way that it should happen. And just like absolute peace settled over me. And it happened not just once, but like over and over again this week. And it felt so good. And it felt like a confirmation of you're on the right path. Just like keep doing what you're doing, and more of this. This can be more of your state all the time.
I love that.
Me too. Felt so good.
Did you want to draw a card?
Let's just draw a card real quick. We can cut it out if we want to. Sometimes we draw cards. I can't see with
I
my
know it's
portal
hard. Let's
glasses
get out
on.
of the portal
So
for just a second.
sometimes we draw cards, and we wanted to just draw it for the beginning of this podcast.
Yes.
So this is like a card for the podcast, and we'll see what it says.
I like that. What'd you get? The upside down.
7 of Pentacles upside down.
You really don't like it when they're
I
upside
hate it
down.
when they're upside down. Of
But
course.
remember, it's always the right message. It's okay.
I know, but I like saw it immediately. I was like, of course it's upside down. Okay.
It's good. It's good.
The
It's probably
woman,
saying you're not to be a little more organized. Anyway, go on.
pull yourselves together. 7 of Pentacles. The woman tends to a tree, weeding around its roots and pruning its boughs. She's waiting for its fruit, symbolized by 7 Pentacles, to ripen. When it is reversed, impatience, insecurity about whether the reward received for work rendered will be worth it, and the need for hard work.
Then maybe with the patience piece, I could own that as like my stuff, which is like, sweet, I'm ready for this to be fucking beyond successful now. Can it be that next month?
Top 10 podcasts. Here we go.
But I'm like, I don't even care. But for whatever reason, anytime I do anything, like I think that I don't really care, but I'm like, well, we should make this big. If we're gonna do
Well,
it, we should blow this out of the water. And then I'm like, is is that really what you want? So maybe it's kind of like patience, like sort out what it is that this is. You don't know that. You just really like when you put energy into something to see it grow.
yes. And I think that the other part of that is like, okay, patience and trusting that it will grow at the right time for both of us. And, you know, you may be ready and I may not be ready, or like, something along those lines that we don't even
Or we might
recognize.
not even get any followers, but then we can go back through and listen to all of our podcasts when we
No,
miss
that'd
each
be
other.
so fun.
See? So like we don't really know what's going to
No,
come of this. So it doesn't actually matter. But I think that's where it's like, what did it say about hard work?
it just said hard work. And I think the way that I'm interpreting that is consistency and just like
Oh,
committing, especially at the beginning when it may feel like we're just talking to each other. I mean, that's how I want it to feel anyway.
I do too, but I think you're right about the consistency part. I feel like that's where I get that is so typical of me. This is going to be huge. I'm going to give you 3 weeks.
Not huge. I'm out. I am out now.
I don't see the results. So, but I think if we did, if even just as like this would be good to do this weekly, just anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then just be open to. I honestly don't have like how does this work? I don't know enough about podcasts to know like how does this become successful? Is that even part of what you want, or is it just about spreading your message? Why is it even important that we're doing a podcast? Like for me, again, I'm like,
You
it's
just
because
got
you told
told.
me to.
You just got told to do it.
I don't know. So I'm here I am talking
But
to you.
you were open to it. So I think there is something there to just think about for yourself about like, what was it that is it this that you trust me so
I
inherently?
think that's inherently what it is. Like I trust you. You got a pull, you got a tug.
I
Let's
got the
go with
noodle.
that. I think that noodle has something to share. And clearly I'm involved, so I guess I'll sign up for the
You are
process.
involved. All right. I do think your commitment may be stronger
To
with
get
your
clear on my
own
vibe.
reason. Exactly.
Right.
What is
Well, I
this
can,
for you?
yeah, okay. I'll think more about that and get back to you.
Next week. Report in next week.
Okay, back in we go.
All right. Well, that's it for episode 1, Living Magic. We need to we need like a signing
You know,
off
wet
tagline.
noodle to the cheek.
I have to like edit in a visual of a noodle slapping.
Can you please do that? Oh my God, it would be so good.
All
You
right.
know it's a
Well,
real sign when it feels like a wet noodle just hit you in the cheek
that's how I get all of my messages.
every time.
Noodles to the face. All right. Well,
Okay,
this was
that's
fun.
enough. It's fun.
Till
I
next
love you.
time. I love you too.
Yeah.